The radio crackled at 2 a.m. while I was hanging off Interstate 95, 40,000 pounds of jackknife trailer swinging over a 60-foot drop. "Rodriguez, you're fired." Brandon Walsh's voice cut through the static. I had hydraulic fluid dripping on my boots and a FedEx driver's life in my hands. And this kid was worried about overtime costs. "My name's Marcus Rodriguez, and I'm 49 years old. Been running heavy recovery for Walsh Towing for 20 years, ever since I got out of the Army. In Iraq, I learned that when equipment fails, people die. Same principle applies on the highway, except now I'm dealing with civilian stupidity instead of enemy fire. The beast I was operating that night, that's what we called the rotator, cost more than most houses in this county. It's not just a tow truck. It's a precision instrument designed to lift tractor trailers out of ditches like they're toy cars. But you can't just hook a chain and pull. One wrong calculation on the boom angle and you'll flip the whole rig, crushing everything underneath. The wind was screaming through the cab, carrying sleet that hit the windshield like buckshot. I was knee-deep in slush, watching the hydraulic pressure gauges while that FedEx trailer swayed in the wind. The driver was still inside the cab, probably scared out of his mind, but I couldn't rush this. Rush gets people killed. "Easy does it," I muttered to myself, my hands moving across the controls like I was defusing a bomb. In a way I was. That trailer was loaded with electronics worth $500,000, and if it went over the embankment, it would take out the power lines below and leave half the county in the dark. Captain Santos was there in his state police cruiser, lights flashing through the snow. We'd worked together for years. He understood that without guys like me, the highway becomes a graveyard. "How we looking, Tank?" Captain Santos called over the radio. "Tank." That's what everyone called me since my Army days. When you've driven a Bradley fighting vehicle through Baghdad, operating heavy machinery becomes second nature. "Systems holding steady," I replied, keying the mic with a gloved hand. "Ground conditions are marginal. Need another 15 minutes to establish proper rigging configuration before attempting extraction." That was the key word, rigging. Any fool can hook a chain. But rigging a recovery means understanding physics, weight distribution, and structural integrity. It's engineering under pressure, the kind of skills you don't learn from a manual. I'd spent the last 6 months training Lisa Hayes, a 28-year-old single mom who needed steady work with benefits. Good kid, sharp as a tack, but she didn't have the certifications yet. The state requires 200 hours of supervised operation before you can run a rotator solo. These machines don't forgive mistakes. Suddenly, my company radio squawked to life with that nasal voice I'd grown to hate. It was Cody Bennett, the new fleet manager Brandon had hired to optimize operations. Cody was fresh out of some business school, probably never changed his own oil, let alone operated heavy machinery. "Unit 1, report operational status. GPS tracking shows stationary position for 35 minutes. Efficiency metrics are below acceptable threshold." I stared at the dashboard, watching the hydraulic temperature gauge climb. Efficiency metrics. We were saving lives and cargo in a blizzard, and this desk jockey was worried about fuel consumption. "Unit 1 here," I said, trying to keep the edge out of my voice. "I'm securing a Class A hazard in adverse weather conditions. Operation requires precision approach to prevent structural failure." "Copy that, but Brandon says expedite recovery procedures and negative on overtime authorization." I clicked off the radio and went back to work. No overtime authorization. I was hanging off a cliff in freezing rain, using skills that took 20 years to master, and the new owner was worried about $30 in overtime pay. The recovery took another hour. I had to reset the outriggers twice when the ground started shifting, and I used 2 separate winch lines to distribute the load properly. By the time I had that trailer back on solid ground and the highway cleared, my hands were cramping from the cold and my back was screaming from the tension. But it was textbook perfect. The driver climbed out shaken but unhurt, the cargo was secure, and traffic was moving again. Captain Santos walked over as I was securing the final tie-downs. "Outstanding work." "Tank," he said, steam rising from his coffee cup. "That could have been a real disaster if it had gone over." I nodded, wiping hydraulic fluid off my hands with a shop rag. "Just doing the job, Captain." But I could see something in his eyes, the same look I used to see on officers' faces in Iraq when they knew the brass was making bad decisions. Something was coming, and it wasn't good. The next morning, I pulled into the yard at 7 a.m., mission accomplished. The highway was clear, the cargo was saved, and I'd prevented what could have been a catastrophic accident. Should have been cause for celebration. Instead, the shop felt like a funeral home. Rick Torres, our dispatcher, was standing by the back door smoking a cigarette. Rick and I went way back, both Army engineers, both knew what it meant to get the job done right. When Rick looked nervous, it meant real trouble was brewing. "Morning, Tank," he said, not making eye contact. "How'd it go out there?" "Standard recovery. Challenging conditions, but no complications." I studied his face. "What's eating you, Rick?" He took a long drag and exhaled slowly. "Brandon wants to see you in the office." "Cody's with him, and they've been in there since 6:30 going over reports." I felt that familiar knot in my stomach. The same feeling I got before walking into the CO's tent when you knew someone had screwed up. Any idea what it's about? Your guess is good as mine, but Rick dropped his cigarette and crushed it under his boot. Word is they've been looking at personnel files, salary structures, that kind of thing. I walked toward the main building, my boots crunching on the gravel. Walsh Towing used to be different. Old man Walsh had built it from nothing. Knew every driver's name and their families. He understood that this business was built on trust and expertise, not spreadsheets and profit margins. But he'd been dead 6 months now, and his son Brandon was a different animal entirely. Brandon Walsh was 34, wore suits that cost more than most people's monthly rent, and drove a leased BMW that he parked in his father's old spot. He had an MBA from some fancy school and thought the towing business was just another spreadsheet that needed optimization. What he didn't understand was that his father's success came from understanding people, not profit margins. I knocked on the office door and entered without waiting for permission. Brandon was sitting behind his father's massive oak desk, looking like a kid playing dress-up in his dad's clothes. The desk was too big for him, made him look small and insignificant. Cody stood beside him, clutching that tablet like it was a life preserver. "Rodriguez," Brandon said without looking up from his computer screen. "Close the door and have a seat." I stayed standing. Rough night out there, but the job's done. FedEx load is secure. Highway's clear. Captain Santos was satisfied with the operation. Cody tapped his tablet with that annoying little stylus. According to GPS logs, recovery time exceeded standard operational parameters by 47 minutes. Vehicle idle time was excessive. Fuel efficiency metrics show significant deviation from established baselines. I stared at him, wondering if he'd ever seen the inside of a recovery vehicle that wasn't on his computer screen. "It's a rotator, Cody. The engine powers the hydraulic systems. You shut down the engine, you lose pressure, and you drop whatever you're lifting. That's basic operational protocol." Nevertheless, Cody continued, scrolling through his data. The numbers indicate inefficient resource utilization. Brandon finally looked up, and I saw something in his eyes that reminded me of certain officers I'd known in Iraq, the kind who made decisions based on career advancement rather than mission success. "We need to discuss restructuring, Rodriguez," Brandon said, leaning back in his father's chair. "I've been conducting a comprehensive analysis of our operational overhead. Insurance premiums are astronomical, primarily due to specialized equipment coverage and what I consider inflated compensation for senior personnel." He made air quotes around senior personnel, and I felt that familiar heat building in my chest. "I'm your only certified heavy recovery specialist," I said, my voice dropping to that calm, dangerous tone I'd learned in combat zones. "You compromise experience levels, you compromise safety standards. That's not just bad business, it's criminal negligence. The state contract requires competent operation." Brandon corrected, that smug little smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "It doesn't specify particular individuals. Your salary represents 18% of our operational overhead for the heavy recovery division. I can hire 2 junior operators for what I'm paying you." "Junior operators can't handle complex recovery scenarios," I said, stepping closer to the desk. "You put inexperienced personnel in that rotator, they'll cause catastrophic equipment failure. People die when amateurs try to do professional work. Technology compensates for experience deficits," Brandon said with the confidence of someone who'd never had to make a life or death decision. "Modern equipment is computerized. It's joysticks and warning systems, Rodriguez, not exactly rocket science. That did it. 20 years of expertise reduced to joysticks and warning systems." I felt the same rage I'd experienced watching desk jockeys make tactical decisions that got soldiers killed. "What exactly are you proposing?" I asked, though I already knew where this was heading. "New compensation structure," Brandon said, consulting a folder. "Flat hourly rate, elimination of overtime premiums, and a 35% reduction in your base wage to align with market standards for general operators." General operators? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. I'm not a general anything. I'm a certified heavy recovery specialist with military engineering background and 20 years of field experience. Not anymore, Brandon said, and that thin smile widened. Accept the new terms or surrender your access credentials. This is at will employment. Rodriguez. No union protection, no grandfathered contracts. I looked at Cody, still smirking at his precious data. I looked at Brandon, who seemed bored by the whole conversation. They had no concept of what they were destroying. They were treating life-saving equipment like office supplies. I need time to consider your offer, I said, though we both knew it wasn't really an offer. You have until shift start tonight, Brandon said, already turning back to his computer. Make your decision and inform Cody of your choice. I walked out of that office feeling like I'd just been gut-punched. 20 years of dedicated service. And this was what it came down to, a spreadsheet calculation. The rest of the day dragged like a root canal. I tried to keep busy, checking equipment, reviewing maintenance schedules, anything to avoid thinking about the ultimatum. But my mind kept drifting to the bills on my kitchen table, the mortgage payment due next week, and the fact that at 49, I was probably too old to start over somewhere else. Rick found me in the equipment bay around 3 p.m., running diagnostics on the rotator's hydraulic system for the third time. Heard about the meeting, he said. Not bothering with small talk, word travels fast around here. Brandon wants to cut my pay by 35% and eliminate overtime, I said, not looking up from the pressure gauges. Take it or leave it. Rick was quiet for a long moment. You know what this means for the rest of us, right? You take that cut. We're all next. Lisa's barely making ends meet as it is, and she's got that kid to think about. I did know. I'd seen this pattern before in the Army. New leadership comes in, starts cutting costs, and pretty soon the whole unit falls apart. The difference was, in the Army, incompetence got people court-martialed. In the civilian world, it just got people killed. What choice do I have, Rick? I'm not exactly swimming in job offers. Maybe not. Rick said, but you're the only reason this place still has credibility with the state police. Captain Santos specifically requests you for the tough calls. Without you, that contract's worthless. That's when my phone rang. It was Rick's extension. Even though he was standing right next to me, he looked confused, then answered it. Dispatch? Rick speaking. His expression changed immediately. When? How bad? He looked at me. We'll be there in 10 minutes. He hung up and turned to me with grim eyes. Major accident on Route 9. Tractor trailer versus bridge abutment. Captain Santos is requesting you specifically. I looked at the clock. 4:30 p.m. I wasn't officially on duty for another 2 hours, but people were hurt, and the captain needed help. Let's go, I said, grabbing my gear. Tank, Rick called after me. Brandon's going to use this against you. You know that, right? I stopped at the bay door. Rick, I've never walked away from a call in 20 years. I'm not starting now. As we drove toward the scene, I had no idea I was about to make the biggest mistake of my career, or the smartest decision of my life. When we arrived at Route 9, the scene looked like a war zone. A flatbed carrying concrete pipes had slammed into the bridge support at full speed. Pipes were scattered across 3 lanes like giant pickup sticks, some of them cracked and leaking concrete dust. The truck's cab was crumpled against the abutment, steam rising from the radiator. Lisa was already there with the rotator, standing beside it looking overwhelmed. She was good people, worked 2 jobs to support her 8-year-old daughter, never complained, always eager to learn, but this was way beyond her experience level. Thank God you're here, Tank, she said as I climbed out of Rick's truck. I can't establish stable lift parameters. The computer keeps throwing stability warnings, and I'm afraid if I override them, I'll tip the whole rig. I looked at the setup. The rotator was positioned wrong, too close to the load, boom angle too steep. Textbook mistake that could get someone killed. Step down, Lisa, I said, grabbing my hard hat. This one's above your certification level anyway. I climbed into the cab and immediately felt the familiar comfort of the controls. This machine and I had been through hundreds of recoveries together. I knew every sound, every vibration, every quirk in the hydraulic system. The computer warnings were just suggestions. I knew the real limits. First, I repositioned the truck for better leverage. Then I extended the outriggers fully and set the pads on solid concrete instead of the soft shoulder. Safety first, always. I'd rather take an extra 10 minutes than drop a load on someone's head. The recovery itself was routine once properly rigged. I used the main winch to stabilize the truck while a secondary line lifted the scattered pipes clear of the roadway. Within 25 minutes, the lane was open and traffic was moving again. Captain Santos walked over as I was securing the final tie-downs, looking relieved. Outstanding work, Tank. Lisa was pretty shaken up when she got here first. She did the right thing calling for backup, I said. That's what separates good operators from dead ones. Before the captain could respond, I heard the sound of expensive tires on asphalt. A black SUV pulled onto the shoulder, Brandon's BMW. He stepped out wearing his ridiculous designer coat, looking completely out of place among the wreckage and road flares. "What are you doing here?" Brandon barked, pointing at me like I'd committed some crime. "Clearing the roadway," I said, wiping concrete dust from my hands. "Standard emergency response." "You're not scheduled for another 90 minutes, Brandon said, his voice getting higher and more agitated. "You're accumulating unauthorized labor hours, and I specifically told you I won't compensate at your previous rate." I felt every eye on the scene turn toward us, Captain Santos, the fire crew, Lisa, even some rubberneckers who'd stopped to watch. Brandon was making this personal in front of everyone. Lisa couldn't handle the recovery, I said, keeping my voice level. Load configuration exceeded her certification parameters. "You want someone to die over $50 in labor costs?" "Lisa is cost-effective," Brandon screamed, his face turning red. "You're undermining my management decisions, Rodriguez. You think because you've been here forever, you run this operation? You're just an employee." The word "just" hung in the air like a slap. Captain Santos stepped forward, his hand resting on his duty belt in that casual way cops do when they're ready for trouble. "I'm the only certified heavy recovery operator you have," I reminded Brandon, my voice dropping to that dangerous calm I'd learned in combat zones. "Operators are replaceable," Brandon yelled, loud enough for half the highway to hear. "I can find 10 guys tomorrow who can run equipment." "I'm finished with your arrogance and your attitude." He held out his hand, palm up, like he was demanding tribute. "Company credentials now." I stared at him. We were standing on the shoulder of a major highway, 8 miles from the yard, surrounded by emergency responders and civilian witnesses. "You're terminating my employment here. I'm accepting your resignation," Brandon said with that oily smile, "since you refuse to accept the new compensation structure. Hand over the access keys and remove yourself from company property." The moment stretched out like a held breath. I could see Lisa's face, pale and worried. I could see Rick standing by the dispatch truck, shaking his head in disbelief. I could see Captain Santos watching everything with those cop eyes that miss nothing. But most of all, I could see Brandon's smug expression, so confident that he held all the cards. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the digital key fob for the rotator. For a second, I just held it, feeling its weight. This little piece of plastic represented 20 years of my life, thousands of calls, hundreds of lives saved. Then I dropped it into Brandon's outstretched palm. "You absolutely certain about this decision?" I asked one final time. "Get off my property," Brandon said, closing his fist around the keys. I turned to Lisa, who looked like she was about to cry. "Lisa, he's going to make you operate that rotator back to the yard." "I know," she whispered, "but Mr. Walsh, I don't have my heavy recovery endorsement yet. I'm still permit level. It's illegal for me to operate without supervision." "Drive the equipment anyway," Brandon commanded, apparently not caring about the legal implications. I looked at Brandon one last time, memorizing his face for what I hoped would be the last time I'd have to see it. "Good luck, Brandon. You're going to need it." I walked to Rick's truck without looking back. As we drove away, I saw Captain Santos in my side mirror, keying his shoulder radio with a very serious expression on his face. "Think Santos caught that?" Rick asked. "Santos doesn't miss much." I said. "Brandon just violated about 6 state regulations in front of a dozen witnesses. The captain's probably calling it in right now." Rick was quiet for a minute. "So what happens now?" I stared out the windshield at the road ahead. Now we wait for Brandon to realize he just fired the only person keeping his company from collapse. "How long you think that'll take?" I smiled grimly. "Not long. Winter's coming, Rick, and when the big storms hit, he's going to find out real quick what irreplaceable actually means." What I didn't know was that I wouldn't have to wait for winter. The reckoning was coming much sooner than that, and it was going to be bigger than anything I could have imagined. The first week of unemployment was the quietest of my adult life. For 20 years, I'd lived by radio calls and emergency responses. Now I woke up at 7 a.m., made coffee, and watched the morning news like a regular person. It felt wrong, like wearing someone else's clothes. I had savings, but not enough to retire comfortably. At 49, I was too young to quit and too specialized for most other work. I spent my days fixing things around the house, trying to burn off the restless energy that comes from a lifetime of high adrenaline work. But while my house was quiet, my phone was buzzing constantly with messages from Rick. I didn't reply, but I read every single one. Tuesday, 11:47 a.m. Brandon missed rotation call for overturned box truck on I-84. Told dispatch no qualified drivers available. Captain Santos was furious. Wednesday, 4:15 p.m. Cody sent the flatbed for garbage truck recovery. Hydraulics blew out under load. $6,200 repair bill. Thursday, 2:30 p.m. Lisa's working double shifts trying to cover heavy calls. She's exhausted and making mistakes. Friday, 10:25 p.m. Lisa quit tonight. Said she almost tipped the rotator trying to lift a broken-down bus. She was shaking when she turned in her keys. I sat on my porch reading about the systematic destruction of everything old man Walsh had built. Brandon wasn't just losing money. He was losing the reputation that took decades to establish. In the towing business, when the police stop calling, you're finished. Saturday morning, I was having breakfast at Murphy's Diner when Captain Santos walked in looking like he hadn't slept in days. He spotted me and slid into the opposite booth without asking. Coffee, black, he told the waitress, then looked at me with those tired cop eyes. Enjoying your vacation, Tank? It's peaceful, I said, cutting into my eggs. The highway isn't, Captain Santos said grimly. Walsh towing is a complete disaster. Response times are up 60 minutes. Yesterday, I had to direct traffic for 2 hours because their driver couldn't figure out how to back up a wrecker. Not my problem anymore, Captain. It's about to be, he said, leaning across the table. Brandon's telling everyone you retired. He's trying to hire operators from out of state. But nobody wants to work for the wages he's offering. I checked the certification database. Tank. He has 0 qualified heavy recovery operators on staff. Captain Santos took a sip of coffee and winced at the temperature. Just keep your phone on tonight. That's all I'm asking. Why tonight? Weather service is calling for a flash freeze event. Rain all day, then temperature drops 40 degrees after sunset. The roads are going to be ice rinks by midnight. 2 hours later, the first raindrops started falling. By evening, it was a steady downpour that soaked everything. I spent the afternoon checking my generator and stacking firewood, listening to my police scanner for the first time since I'd been fired. The emergency calls started around 9 p.m., just scattered fender benders and slide-offs. But as the temperature dropped, the calls multiplied. By 10:30, every available unit was responding to accidents. Then at 11:15 p.m., the call I'd been dreading came over the scanner. All stations, this is Unit 4 Alpha. Catastrophic incident on I-95 northbound River Bridge. Double tanker carrying liquid propane. Jackknifed configuration. Cab section is over the barrier, driver trapped inside. Propane tank is blocking all 3 northbound lanes. Repeat, we have a propane tanker with cab suspended over the river. My blood turned to ice water. Propane tanker, bridge, suspended cab. This was every heavy recovery operator's nightmare, a code red situation requiring absolute precision. One spark from metal grinding against metal, and the explosion would take out the bridge and everything on it. Dispatch to Walsh Towing. Immediate heavy recovery response required River Bridge, Priority Alpha, long pause, static, Walsh towing copies. We are deploying Unit 1. Unit 1 was my rotator. But who was driving it? Brandon had no certified operators left. I grabbed my coat and keys. I wasn't going to work for Brandon, but I wasn't going to let innocent people die because of his stupidity. The scene at the bridge was chaos and flashing lights. The propane tanker was twisted like a pretzel, its silver tank wedged against the concrete barrier. But the cab had punched through the guardrail and was hanging by the kingpin connection, swaying 80 feet over the frozen river. And there was my rotator, positioned completely wrong. Instead of the proper perpendicular setup for maximum leverage, it was parked at a 45-degree angle that cut its lifting capacity in half. The outriggers were extended on ice-covered asphalt without cribbing blocks. Brandon was there in his expensive coat, screaming at some poor freelancer he'd probably found through Craigslist. The kid looked terrified. Just hook the main axle and pull, Brandon yelled. I can't. The kid shouted back, if I pull the axle, the cab tears off. The driver dies. Clear the damn lane. Brandon screamed, do it now. I watched from behind the police tape as the kid climbed into my machine with shaking hands. He grabbed the boom controls and swung out too fast. The cable whipped around and slammed into the propane tank. With a sound like a gunshot, the tank shuddered. Liquid propane began venting from a damaged fitting. "Shut it down," the fire chief roared. "Evacuate the bridge." Everyone back 500 feet. The kid bailed out of the cab, practically falling to the ground. Brandon stood there with his mouth open, finally understanding that his cost-cutting had created a potential catastrophe. Captain Santos appeared beside me like he'd materialized from thin air. "Can you save it, Tank?" I studied the rigging, the ice, the venting propane. "I need the fire department to foam down that leak and clear the ice under the stabilizer pads. I need Brandon to stay 200 feet away from my work area. And I need 30 minutes to do this right." Captain Santos turned to Brandon, who was standing there looking like he'd seen his own death. "You heard him. Move back or I'll arrest you for interfering with emergency operations." Brandon looked at me, his face pale and desperate. "Tank, the access key." I held out my hand. "Master override credential." Now, he fumbled the key fob and dropped it in the snow. I picked it up, wiped it clean, and walked to my machine. The recovery that followed was the most technically demanding of my career. Using micro adjustments and perfect timing, I managed to lift both the cab and stabilize the propane tank simultaneously. When it was over and the driver was safe on solid ground, Captain Santos was waiting with handcuffs, not for me, for Brandon. Turns out, operating without proper insurance and certifications wasn't just a violation, it was fraud. 4 months later, I bought the rotator at the bankruptcy auction for $85,000. Rick and Lisa came with me when I started Rodriguez Heavy Recovery. We got the state police contract, the fire department contract, and something Brandon never had, the respect of everyone we worked with. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying your enemies. It's building something better from the pieces they threw away. That's the thing about real expertise. It's not just what you know, it's knowing when leaves depend on getting it right.